you all for coming to our presentation. Today's outline, we're going to give a high-level overview about EOP and its resources. We are then going to, highlight our continuation and graduation rates. We're also going to share the success of our Summer Bridge and Transfer Bridge programs. Okay, so our EOP program is a success program that works to assist students with the potential to succeed. These students have various different challenges that might otherwise prohibit them to achieve their goal. So we serve students, and that's, I would like to pause for a second and emphasize on the word students. We serve students from low-income backgrounds, from underserved communities, by providing them with wraparound services that are intentional, they're transformational, as they come into the university during their time at SDSU to assist them with their success in achieving the university degree. Now, the reason I pause in the word student is because as we go through the presentation, I want to keep in mind and note on the students and not on the fact that they're low-income first-gen college students from underserved communities, if it makes sense. Yes, we always keep in mind where they're coming from and their backgrounds as we strategically designed the different programs and services that we provide for their success. But I definitely don't want to see our students with the victim mentality. To make sure we accomplish this mission, next slide, Sharika, please. We have an amazing team of 23 full-time staff members and 1 part-time staff member. These are the faces behind the scenes, the ones you're seeing here, and we're missing a thing too that we don't have currently. We also have about 100 paraprofessionals, and they include the tutors, our mentors, and our student assistants. In EOP, the CSU system-wide program, we just celebrated 50 years of changing lives through continuous innovation. Some of you may have heard we were going to celebrate our SDSU EOP celebration here on campus, but unfortunately due to the pandemic, we are postponing it, but we definitely are holding it in the near future. So you're invited and hopefully join us in our celebration. Okay, next slide. So who do we serve? So each semester we serve about 2,400 students. Approximately 300 of those, more or less, are from Imperial Valley campus. We do serve our sister campus in Calexico, California. The breakdown of the students are, they have to be California residents from their first generation, like I mentioned, their low-income backgrounds. Within our population of students, we have our Guardian Scholars. You may have heard about this program as well. It's embedded within our EOP program. And these are foster youth. They're either current or former foster youth, dependents, and wards of the court. They are students under legal guardianship and or unaccompanied homeless youth. In our EOP population, we also have students from undocumented backgrounds. Next slide, please. Okay, so this slide shows you our ethnicity background of our students. As you can see, the largest population is our Hispanic Latino, followed by our white, Black, and African American, and then Asian. So you can see that we do have a very diverse student population. Next slide, please. And this is our college breakdown. So I know some of you are from faculty or different colleges. You can see here where our students are. Our largest group of EOP students are in the sciences, followed by business administration, and then professional studies and fine arts. Now, before we move into the next section, we want to ask you and see if you can put in the chat box, what do you feel are the greatest challenges of EOP students? Again, what do you feel are the greatest challenges of EOP students? We're going to give you a few minutes to think about it, and then go ahead and put it in the chat when you come up with some ideas. So don't be shy. should be, it's nice that it's a small group so we can be interactive. So put in the chat box some of the ideas that you have of the challenges that our students face.
Again, keeping in mind that EOP serves low-income, first-generation college students from underserved populations.
Mm-hmm. So we have here navigating the college environment, the lack of awareness of resources, support services available through campus programming, knowing how to access resources and advice on campus. They are often struggling with balancing work and school. All of these very accurate descriptions of our students. The lack of resources or even having a quiet place to study. That's really good. Jess mentions, many of my students let me know that they have to work, sometimes multiple jobs while trying to attend school, and then a sense of belonging. All of them, great. Thank you so much for interacting with us and putting those in the chat. We're gonna make reference to some of these as we go through our presentation. So I'm going to turn it over now to Sharika.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. So, as Miriam said, I am one of the assistant directors at EOP. I have the privilege and honor of overseeing our outreach, recruitment, and admissions team. So, before I kind of get into the nuts and bolts of what we do, I'm curious. Think about the first time that you stepped foot on a college campus. How did that experience go for you? These are one of the things that we think about as we interact with students, especially students that fit our demographic. So with our outreach, we pretty much will work with any student with between the K through 14 school system. So typically when students come to visit the campus, they do get official tours from ambassadors if they're in high school or community college. However, EOP is one of the only departments on campus that provides college visits to anyone within K through 14. We offer various presentations. So we talk about what does college mean, college culture, the eligibility requirements to getting into various colleges. We offer presentations on what are the EOP benefits and services that are offered to students and why should students apply to our program for the additional assistance during their journey at SDSU or within the CSU. Because as Miriam mentioned, we do have an EOP represented at each of our 23 campuses. We also conduct student panels. So many times they don't want to hear from professionals. They want to hear directly from the students that they're looking up to. What is their experience like being from their backgrounds? How are they able to navigate the college culture? Why did they decide to go to college? So these are many of the topics that we discuss when we do our student panels or when we're presenting to students in general. The access piece is, of course, the largest piece. So in addition to the outreach, we do active recruitment. We email students to let them know about the program and encourage them to apply. We also contact students who have applied but have not completed their applications to make sure that we are able to determine their eligibility. Our eligibility for the program is to make sure that students are low income, which means meeting the EFC of 1,500 or below, as well as first generation. And how the CSU defines first generation are students that come from backgrounds where their parents or guardians have no college experience. So we are a very robust program, but we do want to make sure that we're being very intentional with the services we offer and having high touch points with our counselor to student ratio. So we really look at how many students we're admitting each year to be able to accomplish this goal. In addition to admitting our students, we do offer them transitional assistance. So we have 3 summer programs. One is our first contact orientation, where we really orientate not only the student, but also their loved ones to what is EOP. Many times they apply because of course they hear about how amazing we are, but them or their loved ones really do not understand the services and resources that we offer to make sure that they feel supported during their time at SDSU. So we go through all of that information with them. Many parents and guardians are very appreciative to know that they can encourage their students to reach out for tutoring or for that additional emotional support. One of the best programs that we definitely offer is our EOP Summer Bridge program, which is a 5-week residential program where students take 2 academic courses. They get to meet students from like communities, and it's typically about 100 other student peers, as well as just navigating the university as well as San Diego in general. Henry will go over a little bit more data when it comes to Summer Bridge in a second. And last but not least, we offer our amazing Transfer Bridge program. Transfer Bridge is a 1-week program where we really are able to help transfer students hit the ground running. We connect them to their assistant deans. We talk about faculty expectations, amongst other things. And this past year, we actually had the privilege of ending our our Transfer Bridge program with new student orientation. So our students that participated in the program were able to go to orientation and register for classes early. As we know, just like you stated in the chat box, many of our students struggle with finding balance between their coursework as well as working in their home life. So being able to really register early to get the classes they need is very essential to the success of our students.
Sharika, before we move into the next one, Jennifer is asking, is your outreach just within the local service area or statewide?
Thank you, because I can't see my chat right now. It is actually statewide. However, due to budgetary costs, we typically will not travel outside of the service area to visit a school. However, in regular conditions, anyone that wants to come to us or wants to seek out a presentation request, we are doing them virtually. We will service anyone in California.
Thank you, Sharika. Henry?
Awesome. Thank you for the handoff, Sharika. So very similar to this slide where we transition from outreach and recruitment to retention. It's the same process that happens with our students. In terms of Sharika and her team do a great job of going out there, really hitting the pavement hard and recruiting and informing students about EOP, and then she brings them to us, and then we take over. And in terms of how we do that, and it's really neat that all of these services in our program really align with the things that you all mentioned in your chat in regards to what you feel are the biggest challenges facing those students. And we feel that we've been very intentional about identifying those, and not necessarily us, but actually, as Miriam mentioned earlier, EOP is celebrating its 50th anniversary. Now we're at, I think, in 51 years, but it came out of the civil rights era. In 1969, there were not a whole lot of students that looked like our students on colleges and universities. So for that reason, again, that's why the recruitment piece is so huge in terms of getting students here. But then we want to make sure that once we get those students here, we're supporting them, because if they don't get the support once they get here, they can't do it. And just the same way, if Sharika doesn't do the work that she does on the front end, we don't get those students. So us working together in terms of to recruit and bring students into the experience, and then once we get them here, I feel we do a great job, and we'll show you some of the data here in a minute. But in terms of helping those students to be successful. So what do we do within that space? I think the backbone and really the heart of our program is our counselors. Our counselors work directly with the students. Again, we have roughly around 2,400, 2,500 students in total. And something that earlier when we were looking at the demographic data, we serve only undergraduate students. So our program, again, I mean, that doesn't mean as, if we have a student and they're still with us and they go to graduate school here, that they don't connect with our staff. We still support them, but officially we work only in terms of all of our programming, and what we do is with undergraduate students. So our counseling is a big part of that. Our students are required to meet with a counselor at least twice a semester, and they're that whole piece in terms of just helping students develop a connection with someone that cares. And our counselors, again, as I'm going to mention right now, it goes beyond just advising. So they do the academic advising piece. They have a good familiarity with all the different majors, and so they do that piece. But in addition to that, our counselors have a little bit more of a counseling background as well, where they can support our students through many of the challenges that they're dealing with in terms of whether it's social, cultural, or emotional support. So again, the counselors are the heart of our program, working directly, developing relationships, connecting with students. It's often where students go when they need help or assistance. And again, just building that relationship early with those individuals is very helpful. In addition to that, we have our Learning Support Center, and that is basically our Student Development Center. So again, also same thing. It offers tutoring, but goes way beyond tutoring. We offer tutoring in several general ed subjects. I think we're up to 114 courses that we tutor. We have a great team of tutors that work with our students. We work really hard to connect our students with those resources, especially right now in this virtual reality that we live in. But the tutoring is a core of that. In addition to tutoring, we also do workshops. Right now we have a Wednesday at lunch workshop schedule where our students can join a workshop. We've done workshops on all different type of topics. So for example, last week we did a first gen faculty panel. This week, actually we have an election series in terms of helping our students understand some of the major topics out there in the election. Again, helping them become more informed, working together with AS Rock the Vote in terms of, again, informing our students. I think next week we have stress management, helping students manage stress, partnering with our partners over in CMPS. So again, different workshop every week in all different types of spaces. The other thing, and I know that somebody had mentioned in the chat, it was interesting creating a space for students to study, and that is usually what we do. But unfortunately, now in COVID, we do have some virtual study lounges that we're doing, but it's not the same in terms of when we were on campus. That was a place where students could come and hang out. One of the things that we pride ourselves in is in creating a welcoming environment that feels like home. So everything from our furniture to the plants and different things that we have situated in our space, as you can kind of see there in the picture. Also where students, we have jacks where they can hook up their computers and such. So again, just creating a comfortable, welcoming space for our students to come, maybe between classes or whatever the case might be, to study, and it's usually pretty full in there. The other piece where I'm going to actually kind of recruit the assistance of our faculty here on this one is out of the LSC, we also do our progress report checks. Actually, this is getting ready to go out on Monday, where we send an email out. We use a retention platform called EAB Navigate. I don't know if you're all familiar with that, but we use that to send out to the instructors of all of our students. It's an early alert program where we want to identify any students that you feel may be at risk in your classes. And then what we do then is we're very intentional about, after you complete those reports, we identify those students, and then we work really hard to connect those students with the resources that they need, whether it's tutoring or if they need to meet with a counselor, depending on what the situation is. But that early alert is very helpful to us to be able to identify any students that may be struggling in your courses. So that's another big part of what we do in the LSC. In addition to that, we also offer peer mentoring. Every semester, every fall, we have roughly around 100 students that participate in this program, led by peer mentors. Roughly around 20 peer mentors work with students. They meet on a weekly basis. They have a curriculum in terms of what they do, in terms of engaging their students. They have events that they do, some social events. That's really where a lot of the fun things are coming out of our EOP, especially what's going on now virtually, in terms of all the different games and activities they do in that space to be able to engage our students. And what we found, I won't go into detail on this program, but what we found is that program really has a positive impact on our students in terms of their feeling of engagement, their increase the sense of belonging in there, as well as they connect with somebody on campus that cares about them and is intentional about meeting with them and supporting them. And then the other aspect is our student leadership groups. We have ESOB, which is our EOP Student Advisory Board. Again, a group that's always working on engaging students. They do fun activities as well, and also they do things in terms of our community service. They're actually the ones that are in charge of coordinating the Rock the Vote event that we have today in terms of going on in our space. So again, always out there in the front looking out for our students. Our RISE volunteer program, Rocio Zamorin in our program has done a great job of revitalizing that program. I don't know, Sharika, how many students do we have in RISE? I think we have, what, about 30 or 40 students in RISE. So again, students that are EOP students that just want to help, then we involve them in all types of different activities from they do tours, they help us with events, but just a great group of students. It's really part of getting them involved and getting them engaged. We also have SPA, which is a student parent group, and then GSOB, our Guardian Scholars Advisory Group as well. And I'll go into our additional resources in terms of what we do.
Before we move on, I just want to quickly mention that one of the things I really love about our volunteer program is we want to make sure that we're developing the students as they given to us. So in addition to having students sign up to help us give our campus visits and our student panels, we also offer them development workshops. So I'll do resume building workshops. We'll talk about success in interviews, how to address for success. We have had Project Rebound come in and talk about what is it like being a student coming from an incarcerated background, as well as our undocumented students. So that way, as students are interacting with these groups when they come to visit our college, they know kind of a little bit more awareness of what they've been through and are able to connect with them and point out things at the university that would help support them during their journey. So we're very intentional with making sure that we're feeding into our students and developing them as leaders as well.
No, awesome, Sharika. Thank you so much for sharing that. Again, just being very intentional about always developing our students. Now, in terms of our additional resources, we also do a really great job of partnering with our campus partners. So in terms of, obviously, the financial aid is a big need for our students. So when we were in person, we had a financial aid counselor in our space for half a day. Now that same individual is available virtually for our students, counseling and psychological services for our Guardian Scholars, but also in terms of for all of our students. We had them again previously in-house where they host hours in our space where students can make an appointment. It really helped. It's helped a lot to destigmatize that connection, and then also just having it within our space. Our counselors have become a part of our team and a part of our family as well. So again, that whole concept of wraparound services all in one space has really been helped by our campus partners, which also includes study abroad, where they were hosting hours, and then also CalFresh. It's a great program run through the county. Now it's a huge partnership on campus where we work to support students who have issues with food insecurity. It provides them with some extra funds, and it's really neat because almost all of our students in EOP qualify for that. We work really hard to get students connected with that valuable resource. And then in terms of for our Guardian Scholars, as I mentioned, the wellness coaches we have there, they also have year-round housing at no cost to them with our partnership through HUD. And then also another thing that's not mentioned there is our seminar. They have a regular seminar and regular meetings that they do where they gather as a group. And then we do some great events to help to celebrate those students. One of them is our event coming up here in November. We have a huge Thanksgiving celebration, and that's where that picture is there. Two of our Guardian Scholars in terms of from our Thanksgiving celebration from a couple years back. So again, those are the additional resources that we provide within our space.
And just quickly, another partner that we have on site is our career services. They also provide services in our site, so apologies for that oversight.
So other ways that we support our students is providing a very amazing, intimate EOP graduation ceremony where students are able to invite their loved ones and really get called up to the stage, shake our hands and be rewarded and celebrated for reaching this monumental occasion. Our graduation ceremonies are getting larger every year, so they are such a pleasure to participate in and see students so excited to be finishing with their degrees. Other things that we also do is offer our scholars reception. So this was actually an idea that came from our counselors when we realized we're always doing outreach to students that need the additional assistance, but what about the students that are excelling and showing that they are being amazing scholars at the university? So we developed this a couple years ago, and every semester we just have a reception to really celebrate them and their achievements. We also sponsor students to different luncheons and conferences. So we attend all of the cultural luncheons on campus. We typically bring 3 or 4 students with us to sit down and be able to participate in the program as well. Our ESOB student organization is able to go to different conferences where they're able to interact with other ESOB members from other EOP campuses and really get leadership development. They spearhead different workshops and get presentation skills and just various conferences. So I know we have our leadership summit. We also sponsor 10 students to actually attend the leadership summit at no cost to the students so that they're able to have that experience. We brought a group of students down with us when we went to the CSU 50th EOP anniversary, where they were just able to participate in different networking events and workshops that really hone into the essence of what EOP is, why we're EOP, and they came back so inspired and ready to implement change. It's really cool to be able to see our students' growth. But we know how important it is for those professional development opportunities, so we definitely make sure that we're giving our students those experiences as well.
Yeah, I think we all came back super inspired by that from that conference. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the graduation rates. But before I go into that one, as Henry was talking about all these support programs, the quote that came to mind was "Access without support is not an opportunity" by Vince Tinto. I know that, you know, we can bring them, but if we don't support them, you know, that really will not be an opportunity and they will not achieve their graduation, right? So as we, you know, the goal of providing all these services and programs is to help them, you know, get to graduating. Yes, through the process, we see their personal growth, we see them develop professionally, and it's a joy to see that. But ultimately, what we want is for them to achieve their academic goal. We're very proud of our students because even as they face all the challenges that you mentioned, they experience through their educational journey, they are still resilient and they achieve the goal. Here in this slide, we have the 4-year graduation rate, which the EOP graduation rate is 37.7 versus the SDSU graduation rate, which is 56.4. Now, as we know, the reason our students are not graduating as comparable to our you know, other SDSU students in 4 years is because of all the challenges we mentioned, whether it's the financial hardships, because they have multiple jobs, they don't have a right space, they take semesters off at times. So that's why they're not graduating in 4 years. However, if we see slide 6, next slide, when we're looking at the graduation rate of 6 years, which is, by the way, the national measure of colleges and universities, we see that EOP students are graduating at comparable rates. So here we see EOP students graduating at 77.8% and 78.9% with San Diego State students. So we have been able to narrow the achievement gap, and that's a huge success. And we definitely are very, very proud of our EOP students because that is a high graduation rate. In our continuation rate, we have our first and second year continuation rates as 85.7% compared to the US national average for universities that are 4-year public universities at 83%. So we can see here that our EOP students, again, first generation, low income students, coming back to first years to second year, second year to third year, at rates higher than the national average. Again, we're very, very proud of our EOP students and the work we do. And I know some of you are involved with our EOP students. It matters. So thank you for the work you do in the success of our students. Go ahead and unmute, Henry.
Now we're going to do a little bit of a dive into one of our programs that Sharika had mentioned earlier. One of our transition programs is our EOP Best Summer Bridge program. And that is a program that currently we're able to support about a third of our students in terms of from an incoming freshman class to be a part of this program. Obviously, this year we went to a totally virtual program. So we really had to be quick about jumping in and recreating our program into a virtual environment. But as Sharika mentioned earlier, we transitioned a couple years back to a fully residential program. So those students live on campus and they go through our program, a 5-week intensive academic experience, social, transitional, all the check boxes there in terms of that a lot of you mentioned into some of those challenges. We really tried to spearhead as we designed our program. Again, it's one of those programs that has been around for a while. I want to say it's like 35 years in existence in terms of for our summer bridge program, and it was actually one of the first summer bridge programs out there in terms of a summer transition program for new incoming freshman students. So our program goals are, first of all, we really want to assist our students in making that academic transition because that's going to be a really big part of that. So as Sharika mentioned, they take 2 courses in there. So we packaged that with academic support, connecting our students with the academic resources that we have available in EOP and also on campus. So both of those things working together, the challenge of taking 2 classes in the summer before your freshman year, and then also partnering that up with support. And there is mandatory support there in terms of the tutoring. It's required for each of the classes that they're in. So in there, it's not just tutoring for the content, but also in terms of helping them to develop some of those academic skills that are essential for their success in college. So that's our first goal. And then that next goal is the other thing that most of you have mentioned as well in terms of just really students becoming familiar with all of the resources and really getting ready, just being able to better understand college, what's expected of them here at the university. And one of the things that happens as a result of that is and I think it's in one of our comments from our students, is that it really helps the university become a much smaller place. Think about it, maybe you've never stepped foot on a college campus before, and then here you are in terms of just this huge, I mean, it's as big as a small city in terms of looking at campus and all the resources. So really working hard to connect our students with those resources, both the physical resources in terms of the various programs on campus, but then also those individuals and those people. They say in life, it's not what you know, but who you know, and that becomes invaluable in this step as we work to increase the cultural capital of our students and better understanding the university, what's expected and where to go for help. And then the third goal is really aligned with the university's goals in terms of developing leaders, scholars, and responsible citizens, being very intentional there about connecting our students with those valuable experiences. So for example, we have AS come in and talk to our students about getting involved, how to get involved on campus and organizations and different things. And then also in regards to the attention that we play there in terms of developing the cultural competence of our students, really just understanding the campus, all the rich diversity that is here, and helping students to navigate that, but also in terms of feeling comfortable and feeling valuable or feeling valued with their own identities as they approach this. So again, those are the program goals, and really, I mean, it aligns perfectly with all of the things that you all mentioned, and again, our coordinator does a great job. We have student mentors in there as well. It's usually a very intense experience because the student mentors are living with the students on campus, develop really close-knit relationships, and that's the other big part of the program. Students get a sense of, hey, I'm a part of something. I'm a part of something bigger than me, and then also I'm connected with some people that I've got to know very well through this intensive 5-week experience. I don't know if there's anything else that anyone wants to add in regards to Bridge before I go to the results. But that is really the thing in terms of what goes in there, and that's great. But what are the results? And that's and I think that's really one of the great things about this program. We've been able to be very intentional about tracking the results. In addition to a pre-post assessment, we look at in terms of students increase their sense of belonging, community, understanding the university, and again, all those metrics increased significantly. But in terms of looking at the other things that our students do. So before I get into this data on this slide, our students have higher, as shown here in the slide, higher continuation rates, but also higher graduation rates. I'm sorry, not the 4-year, but higher 6-year graduation rates, even for when compared to non-EOP students. But here, as we look at these continuation rates for students, looking at some of the different lines there. So if you look at the orange line, which is the more the one with the higher score, is those are our EOP summer bridge students. And so again, those students do better in terms of the first year retention rates when compared to any of the other groups. So the other groups that we think it's important to connect it to is EOP students who are not summer bridge. So those are the blue group. And then so again, that's something that we're always trying to do, is get our non-EOP students into the program, increase the resources so that more students that are EOP can be a part of that, so that we can narrow that gap there. And then the other group that we're looking at there when we compare is, and I'm sorry, I lost the view, but it's all students at the university. And then the last group, the lower group, is this is a group on campus that looks like EOP. So they're low income first gen, but they're not in the EOP program because we're not able to, again, not all first generation low income students get into the program. But there you see the widest gap between those students, and it really does speak to the impact of the particular intervention in regards to our summer bridge program, even as it compares to the general student population, and then especially as it applies to students that are like EOP, but they're not a part of the EOP program. Again, it really shows the success. We did a presentation at the 50th anniversary conference on this data, and we went through a process through the Data Champions program, and we were able to analyze that data, and all that data showed that the impact of EOP Summer Bridge program was statistically significant in regards to continuation rates, our 6-year graduation rates, and also lower probation rates after the first year. So again, very strong impact on that program in regards to the data.
I'm sorry, Henry, I don't mean to interrupt. Which line is the one that is the population that's similar but not in EOP?
It's the gray line.
The gray.
Okay.
I think it's a little bit hard for you to see, because I mean I can't even see it in my yeah, but it is the gray line there, the one that's at the bottom, that's hovering at the bottom. Those are EOP-like students, but are not in EOP.
Got it. Thanks.
And the yellow one was everybody else on campus, so all the population. And these are first-time freshman students.
All right, I'll transition over to our other transition program, and that is a program that also has a lot of success, is our Transfer Bridge program. Sharika.
Thank you. So I am so very proud of this picture. We had so many students this past summer that was engaged in the program, that really participated and took the most out of what we were able to offer, because we did it virtually. Of course, we can offer it to all of our students without having to cap it to 100. So we actually had about 106 participants and about 103 students who fully completed the program. So just in a quick nutshell, what do we do at Transfer Bridge? So again, it is a 1-week commuter program where students from varying backgrounds, and that's why I have the demographic information up, is able to come on campus and really get familiar with SDSU, the resources that we offer, as well as how to navigate the campus. That was probably one of the biggest things that we weren't able to provide students this year, but our counselor, Robert, he did an amazing job with literally driving students to campus, walking around in the different departments and offices, just so that they at least can see where they're located. However, as you all know, transfer students only have pretty much 2 years that are recommended for them to hit the ground running in order to graduate. So we really do our best to, number one, limit the transfer shock, be able to validate students that they belong there. I've had so many conversations with students who, I'll just do another year at community college. I don't know if I'm ready, or I don't know if my financial aid is going to cover my costs. So we really are able to go over a lot of that information with students so that they know it's possible, they're ready, stop questioning yourself. We connect them to their assistant deans. And again, we do different leadership and personal development so they do their true colors so that they know how to work with people. We go over the library resources, the website, how to navigate that so that they can do their research papers. And one of the things that I honestly really appreciate is the faculty expectations presentation. How do you write emails to students? How do you show up in class? How do you address faculty members? So we make sure that we are really setting them up for success so that when they get here, they're standing out, they're confident, they're ready to be successful in their time at SDSU. And then, of course, throughout this 1 week process, they really built very strong relationships with our staff members. So being able to see them around campus or for them to come into the office, they're more comfortable with knowing where they can go to get the help whenever they don't know where to go for different assistance. So being able to build that relationship and have them get comfortable with not only the EOP office, but as well as our staff definitely shows, the commitment and the strong ties there. One of the other things I want to point out before I move forward is the varying diversity of the program. So not only do we have a varying ethnicity diverse group, but really the age of our students. We are seeing more and more that students from different age backgrounds are returning to school. So we definitely have a lot of non-traditional students. One of the things that aren't shown here are students with different abilities. And so we do work with SASE to make sure that we're providing different resources and just services to be able to support them during the program as well as during their time at the university. But this is a very eclectic group and we love to learn from them and hear from them as well.
So Henry and Sharika both talked about the program and the impact of both Summer Bridge and Transfer Bridge. These are just some quotes from some of our students. The two first ones are from Summer Bridge students. The blue one is from a Transfer Bridge student. And again, we are, the impact that both of these programs have on our students is significant, as shown with the data and also the testimonials that our students have. Next slide, please. And so with that, I would like to, first of all, again, thank you for coming to our presentation, but most importantly, open it for questions and see if there's something else that we can answer about our program that we haven't covered. And this is one of our fun pictures from our Zoom meetings as we're all in this virtual world. So now it's open for questions. You can feel free to put it in the chat, or if you feel comfortable turning on your camera and speaking up, we'll be delighted to answer your question.
Hi, I'm Xing Chen Tong. And since you mentioned about how the students who qualify, one of the criteria is that they are from low income. So is that just one of the criteria, or are they always low income?
They're always
sorry. Income.
Yes.
So is that one of the criteria that's always there, or are there other criteria that could always be there as well?
So we do have different criteria, but low income is one of the main criteria. And they all have to have an estimated family contribution of $1,500 and below. We also look at generational status, which is being that they're first generation students coming to the college. We also look and prioritizing students who are from our local service area. But yeah, they all have to be low income.
So they can qualify before they enter SDSU, or during the time when they're at SDSU, when they fall low income, they can qualify, correct?
They have to, and I'll let Sharika answer. Yeah, go ahead, Sharika.
No, and thank you for asking that question, because that's one of the things I did forget to point out on the slide as far as who we serve. So EOP is a transition program. Students have to apply to the program and be admitted in order to be eligible for the services and benefits during their time at a CSU. So that's for any CSU. Unfortunately, once a student starts classes at the university, they can no longer go back and apply to EOP to then have access to the services. So this is why me and my team do so much heavy outreach on the front end to really explain to students the benefits and services and how we can support them on their journey. Because once they start taking classes in the fall semester, unfortunately, they're no longer eligible. And trust me, I've spoken to so many students who hears about it from a friend and then comes and asks, and I'm like, I emailed you, what happened? But no, it is one of those things that students have to, number one, apply, meet the eligibility requirements to get admitted prior to starting their careers at the CSU.
So can sorry, Sinclair, I just am really curious, because that's one aspect of the program I've always been kind of curious about. Like, is it because of the scarce resources and obviously you can't maybe serve every student who would be eligible, and that's one way to cut it? Or do you have any idea, like, why is that the case?
I have about 3 different inclinations. One is, number one, it was started in '69, so it's a part of our EOP regulations that pretty much guides all the EOP programs. Number 2, it's because every EOP at the CSUs are different. So the amount of students that they're able to intake, the amount of students that they're able to serve is going to differ. So in order for all of us to be able to meet those quotas or be able to see how many students we can support, it's better to do it beforehand. But in my personal opinion, it's also heavily due to the transitional programs. Being able to fully orientate students during first contact and have them realize and understand what do they have access to is a very big piece, versus having students come in a semester later or later on down the line and they miss that very critical piece of understanding what tutoring services are offered to me, or how do I get connected to a counselor, or who can I meet with for academic advising. And especially Summer Bridge and Transfer Bridge, you know, we can talk about data, we can give student voices, but it's so hard to put in words the growth and the knowledge and the confidence that students get from participating in those programs. So I guess that was the long piece of it. I don't know if Miriam has anything to add to that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with everything that you just shared. I'm sorry, I was reading Jess's question. I was trying to answer. So I think that we can answer it verbally, Jess. Yes, we definitely recommend that. If you have an EOP student that's struggling in a class, you let us know. Henry just put his email there. That's the best way to let us know. And yes, students can meet with our counselors more than twice a semester if they need to. We say a minimum of twice a semester, but they can come in and meet with them at any time. So thank you for the question.
So also, as I mentioned, we do the progress check that'll go out Monday. That's a good way where we kind of prompt you to be able to give us some feedback on how they're doing in the class. You can do it there, or again, as Miriam mentioned, you can email me directly anytime with any students you have, any type of concerns about.
I have 2 questions. Thank you, first off. This is a great overview. I feel like I definitely did not know all the intricate details and the amazing resources that you guys provide. First question, you guys mentioned using EAB. As an advisor, are we able to see, like, are you guys using the advising notes section at all in terms of like being able to see maybe what's been recommended to the student or what they've been like advised by their counselors at all?
Yes, most definitely. And that's one of the great things about EAB. Are you currently using EAB, Taylor?
I'm in the process of starting. It's a little adventure getting there, yes.
Yeah, and I think once the whole university is there, it's going to be great. So yeah. It will be a case where you can view notes that our students, that our counselors have made in regards to their meetings. And that's very helpful in terms of all being on the same page.
Yes.
Because, you'll get students and they'll say, like somebody told me that. We've had those cases a couple of times already, and we go, no, check the notes. That's not what happened. And so it really allows us all to be on the same page. And then if you want to follow up on something, it allows us to follow up. Say, for example, we told a student, hey, go see your advisor, and then we can check to see if they met with you all. So yeah, it'll be great when we're all there, but I know there's a lot of different colleges jumping on board with that. But yes, to answer your question, you will be able to see our notes and we can see your notes as well.
Okay, perfect. And then my second one is are they, so I know you said 2 times a semester that are they encouraged or are they required to meet
So
with
they're
you?
required, it's in the contract, they do a contract, but we don't necessarily have a carrot or a stick. It's just a language that we put, but there are certain at-risk populations that we're very intentional about that we actually use holds for. And we use a little bit more stronger language for those students that are maybe on probation or maybe like for first-year students that haven't connected at all. So again, we're more intentional with those subpopulations.
Perfect. Thank you.
Can I have some more clarifications of students' qualification? So according to Sharika, does that mean if a student, the first year, they may not be low income, but then maybe, for example, their parents got divorced, the second year, they become low income, they still don't qualify?
Correct. Unfortunately, our program is entry program, so they have to be EOP when they start at San Diego State that first fall semester.
I see. And do they grow out of EOP? For example, the second year, their mom got remarried and they are not low income anymore. Do they grow out of it?
No, we that's the beauty of this. Once EOP, always EOP.
I see. Thank you.
Thank you. That's a great question. Ramona, go ahead.
Can I add one piece to that before we move forward, if you don't mind? One of the big things about the eligibility requirement, it's a history of disadvantage. So there are times when if students have a history of disadvantage and they just had a really good year, they can submit an appeal and ask for additional consideration and submit like tax information to be able to show the history of their parents' or their guardian's low income rate. So those are usually on a case-by-case basis. And as you know, many first generation students don't know to actively reach out. So we usually try to work with their counselors a lot when they're advocating for students. So sometimes we can't take a digger dive into it, but besides that, yes, it is an entry program. Sorry, go ahead, Ramona.
Oh, so just thank you all for this overview. This was fantastic. I thought I was familiar with EOP, but I learned so much more than I had known. So my question is, what is the acceptance rate? Do you all accept everybody who applies, or because of budget, is there a limit on that, how many people you can accept each year?
That's a great question. Sharika, you want to explain? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great question. And technically, I want to say we do admit everyone that applies that falls through our categories of eligibility as well as priority. So pretty much any student that is a California resident that meets our income requirement and that actually submits an application to EOP, if they're truly first generation students, they are automatically admitted. So we take all of those students in. We really look at how many students we're able to intake. So of course I do kind of projections based on previous years. And then we look at subcategories of students as far as who else can we take in order to meet those demographics. So sometimes we do look at our non-first generation students. We know that our African American and Native American, as well as our undocumented students, always need kind of a little additional support during the transition to the university, as well as just being successful in a post-secondary educational system that's as large as ours. So we do look at those additional students as well for eligibility. So it's hard to say that we don't admit everyone that is eligible, because technically if you're looking at the priority groups that we're pretty much trying to support, we do admit all of the students from those categories.
Wow, you all are doing such great work. Thank you.
Thank you, Ramona.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I have one more question. So for those students, if they're studying with us and then suddenly they start to have all the risk factors coming in their life, but they don't qualify EOP, what would be the comparable services that we can recommend them to seek at SDSU?
Yeah, if they are not EOP, I think that the best and first thing to direct them to the assistant deans so they can meet with them. They have a list of resources And depending on what the need is, they can refer them to, you know, counseling and psych, ECRT. You know, it really depends on their need. But I think as a first step, it would be their assistant deans from the college.
Thank you.
You add anything? Yeah.
And then I would just like to quickly add that the university has so many different resources, the Writing Center, Math Center, academic advising. So that is some of the tough conversations I do have to have with students when they ask about how can they get the additional support. It's offered at the university. It's just not provided in a one-stop shop how EOP is. And, you know, if I may say so myself, offered with the love, compassion, and intentionality of EOP. But SDSU has tons of resources, so students can be successful even if they're not EOP. They just have to do a little bit more searching to figure out where those resources are.
I would encourage you also, if you haven't done so already, to go through the ECRT advocate training. It's really good, and that's for faculty, that's for everyone at the university, and they do a really, really good job of informing everyone, our whole campus community, about all the resources they have. They have, you know, resources for almost anything that low-income first-generation college student might need, and then also not only the information, but they actually have resources where students can apply for money for various different things that they might need.
I have one last question. I promise I'll let you all go because I know it's past 1 o'clock. It's one of our goals of our department is to do more high school outreach to be able to increase the knowledge of like what speech language pathology is and audiology for the world, because especially for our first gen students and students of color, they're just not necessarily as knowledgeable about those more very small knit fields. If they ever have questions about EOP, is there one person in particular that like we can direct them to, or is there a general EOP contact? Or Sharika, is it all you?
Well, I would be the main point of contact when it comes to any type of outreach or recruitment with students, but we do also have a general email address as well. So I will put in the chat both of those. And you know, one other thing I would like to offer is one of the things me and one of my outreach specialists would like to do moving forward is offer more workshops to students around majors and the importance of college. So we can definitely get together and have a side conversation about how you can work with us to, you know, offer some type of workshop to students.
Love it. Yes, all about it.
I also added our website, so you can see our phone number, you know, our virtual front desk. We currently have a virtual front desk, so if anybody has a question, they can go in there and actually talk to someone and then direct them to the right person.
Perfect.
I love the question.
I know, this was great. Thank you so much for engaging with us and for the questions and coming to learn more about EOP. We appreciate it. Share with your colleagues. Tell them that they missed out, but they can see the recording. So thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you all so much for this. I will say I have learned, I've been enjoying this series because I'm learning so much about everything going on in the division. It's been fantastic. So just thank you for all of this. The recording will be on the website, and I will make sure that everyone has access to that. And it is making me think, once again, I've thought this before, but it's really striking that we don't have a similar one-stop shop kind of thing for folks who aren't eligible for the EOP program, but who may have just as high a need in a lot of ways. So maybe that's something else that will come back on in the conversation within the division. So
never know.
Thank you all. Thank you all for coming, and yeah, appreciate you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.